What happens when a global superpower begins to fall apart? Not with an explosion, not with a dramatic collapse, but with a slow, painful unraveling. What happens when a country that once rivaled the West in nuclear firepower and geopolitical reach is reduced to a pariah gas station, its roof rusting, its pipes leaking, and its customers quietly disappearing? Russia's economy isn't just under pressure. It is sliding headfirst into a deep and widening abyss. The country is running out of allies, running out of cash, and running out of time. What was once celebrated as the unbreakable fortress, Russia is now trembling beneath the weight of its own myths. Like the cartoon coyote chasing the roadrunner, the Kremlin is suspended over empty air, legs spinning, seconds away from gravity taking control. This collapse didn't surprise the world. The only question left is how hard Russia will hit the ground. The first possible outcome is the deceptively optimistic one, often called the integration scenario. In this version of events, Russia imagines a soft landing, not by fixing its internal problems, but by clinging to the few global players still willing to engage. China, India, Brazil, and, more quietly, North Korea, Iran, and a handful of isolated South American regimes. It's a survival strategy, a slow slide down a sharp cliff, where Russia believes it can stop the fall by tying itself to new economic partners. On paper, it sounds reasonable. In reality, it's already falling apart. India, once a major buyer of Russian oil, is starting to pull back. State-run refineries are suspending purchases and looking elsewhere, toward Nigeria and OPEC suppliers. What was meant to be a lifeline is quickly turning into a liability. China remains the only truly significant buyer of Russian resources, but this relationship is anything but balanced. Beijing doesn't see Moscow as an equal partner. It sees a useful supplier, one that can be squeezed for short-term advantage. China's support isn't about loyalty, it's about leverage. And what does Russia receive in return? Not cutting-edge technology, not serious investment in future industries, but outdated machinery and low-value assistance. It's like patching a collapsing dam with duct tape. This isn't development, it's emergency survival gear. At the same time, Ukraine continues to strike at Russia's energy infrastructure. Refineries are being hit one after another. The core of Russia's budget, its oil and gas sector, is being systematically weakened. Every successful strike is another cut into Moscow's economic bloodstream. Zoom out to the global picture, and the risks grow even larger. If the world slips into recession, as signals from U.S. labor markets and global trade suggest, oil prices could fall sharply. For an economy already dependent on energy exports, that would be devastating. The so-called gas station economy would suddenly find itself without customers. And here's the most unsettling part. This is the best-case scenario for the Kremlin. A slow decline, while the world moves on and its remaining partners quietly start looking elsewhere. So, what happens when even your friends stop answering the phone? That's when the illusion of integration collapses and something far more desperate takes shape. In the second scenario, Russia pulls up the drawbridge. The Kremlin turns inward and declares that it doesn't need the world at all. The message becomes simple. If they won't trade with us, we'll stand alone. This is Fortress Russia 2, an attempt to build a closed, autarkic state, echoing the Soviet-era bubble, propped up by propaganda and hollow defiance. But beneath this show of strength is a deeply decaying core. Russia's demographic crisis is accelerating. The population is aging, birth rates are falling, immigration is rising. Young people, educated workers, tech talent, they're leaving. What remains is a shrinking labor force, a growing dependent population, and a government pretending it can command economic growth by decree. And it's not just people who are disappearing. The money is disappearing too. Russia's financial reserves, once described as a massive war chest, have been drained by military spending, sanctions, and the loss of Western partnerships. What's left is steadily eroded by inflation, corruption, and waste. China, Russia's last major partner, may smile in public, but it's acting purely in its own interest. Beijing doesn't hate Moscow, but it doesn't trust it either. The moment the relationship stops paying off, China will walk away. And Moscow knows it. India and Brazil are already drifting. Inside Fortress Russia, when the walls are too high to escape and resources start to run dry, stagnation turns into decline. Industrial output falls, innovation stalls, machinery breaks down. The economy turns inward, feeding on itself, like a snake swallowing its own tail. Outside the walls, Ukraine keeps pushing forward. Sanctions tighten, the rest of the world adapts and moves on. Fortress Russia begins to look less like a stronghold and more like a prison. But there is a third scenario, and it's not hypothetical. It's already unfolding. In this final and most severe outcome, Russia hits the ground. The coyote doesn't just fall off the cliff. A massive boulder comes crashing down after him. This is the impact scenario. The economy doesn't slowly shrink, it breaks. The collapse is sudden, systemic, and irreversible. Russia is running out of money. Fiscal reserves are nearly gone. The ruble continues to lose value, not only against the dollar, but against gold, the euro, and other stable currencies. Inflation creeps into daily life. Basic goods become harder to find. Imports dry up. Western brands are long gone. Black markets expand. Ordinary people feel the pressure every day. This isn't theory, it's history repeating itself. During World War I, prolonged conflict pushed the Russian Empire toward revolution. During the Cold War, economic exhaustion destroyed the Soviet Union. Today, the same pattern is reappearing. The war in Ukraine has lasted far longer than the Kremlin expected, and it's exposing a harsh reality. The longer the war continues, the higher the risk of collapse. Russia lacks the financial depth, labor base, and industrial resilience to outlast the West. Ukraine, meanwhile, is backed by expanding international support. Every successful strike, every destroyed refinery, every disabled tank sends the same message. Moscow's grip is weakening. The West isn't breaking, it's consolidating. NATO is stronger. Sanctions are tighter. Supply chains are adapting. Energy dependence is shrinking. Russia's hopes rest on alliances built on sand. The so-called BRICS alliance has proven to be more symbolism than substance. No unified economic front, no strategic safety net, no real bailout. Inside the Kremlin, leadership is frozen. Decisions are reactive, not strategic. Officials scramble to plug holes in a sinking ship. There is no clear exit strategy, no credible economic vision, no path to recovery. This isn't just the failure of an economic model, it's the collapse of an empire. A country that once stood shoulder to shoulder with global superpowers is now struggling to keep the lights on. And the most uncomfortable truth of all, the world didn't push Russia off the cliff. Russia jumped. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. World Decoded has many more stories yet to be told, and we hope you will continue to join us as we delve deeper into this world layer by layer. See you in the next video.